Jai Gurudev and welcome. It's a pleasure to have you both here to discuss how the teachings from Catch 22 can be applied to the modern world of politics and corporate culture. We will also explore how the wisdom of His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji and the tools of the art of living like Sudarshan Kriya, Pranayama, meditation, Seva, Ayurveda, and more can guide us through these challenges. Let's dive in. One of the key lessons from Catch 22 is the illogical nature of military orders. In modern corporate and political cultures, people often face confusing or contradictory decisions. How can the teachings of Gurudev and the practices of the art of living help individuals navigate such situations? Jai Gurudev's, yes, it's true that in politics and corporate environments, individuals are often caught in conflicting decisions, much like the characters in Catch 22. Gurudev teaches that clarity of mind and heart is essential in such situations. Through practices like Sudarshan Kriya, Pranayama, and meditation, we cleanse the mind of stress and confusion, allowing us to make decisions from a place of calm. When the mind is calm, the intellect is sharp, and you can navigate through illogical or contradictory situations with ease. Additionally, traditional practices like Trikal Sandhya and Agni Karyam help in centering oneself. These ancient rituals bring a sense of discipline and alignment with the nature's rhythm, which in turn helps individuals deal with external chaos. The teachings from our scriptures remind us that just like in Catch 22, we might not control external circumstances, but we can master our internal responses through Sanyam or self control and sadhana or spiritual practices. Yes, in the novel, there is a strong theme of the erosion of individuality. How can individuals in high pressure corporate or political environments retain their individuality and integrity? Retaining individuality in any high pressure environment requires inner strength through Sudarshan Kriya and other art of living techniques. We develop resilience and a deep connection to our true selves. When you regularly engage in seva or selfless service, meditation and satsang or spiritual gatherings, you nurture the individuality that goes beyond your role or title. You recognize your uniqueness not just as a professional but as a spiritual being. This is where the practices of Upanayanam and the chanting of Gayatri Mantra come in. These rituals connect us to our own inner self, our Atma, and help us hold on to our sense of purpose and integrity, just like Yosarian's struggle to preserve his sanity amidst absurdity. These practices shield our individuality from being eroded by external pressures. The novel critiques the commodification of war, and in modern times, we see similar commodification in business and politics. How can the wisdom of Gurudev and tools like Seva and Satsang help counter this mindset? The commodification of life is a symptom of detachment from the values of compassion, humanity, and service. Seva is the antidote to this. Gurudev teaches that when we serve selflessly, we reconnect with our innate compassion. When you see people not as commodities or numbers, but as fellow human beings, your actions reflect this deeper connection. This applies to politics, corporations, or any field in the Vedic tradition. Practices like Agni Karyam and Sandhya Vandanam are reminders of the cosmic order and our role in sustaining harmony. These rituals symbolize the importance of nurturing life and respecting its sacredness, countering the commodification mindset in politics or business. These principles encourage us to work for the greater good rather than for profit alone. Another powerful lesson from Catch 22 is the indifference of higher powers. In corporate and political contexts, leaders sometimes feel disconnected from the struggles of their people. How does the art of living philosophy address this? Gurudev emphasizes the importance of compassion and connection at every level of leadership. A leader should always remain grounded in the experience of their people. Practices like Padma Sadhana and Shakti Kriya help leaders develop empathy and a sense of oneness with others. When you meditate and align yourself with these techniques, you naturally become more connected to the struggles of others, breaking that indifference. In our tradition, leaders are considered custodians of dharma or righteousness. Practices like Gayatri Mantra and Sanyam instill values of humility and responsibility in leadership. By performing these rituals daily, leaders cultivate the humility required to remain close to the people they serve, avoiding the indifference seen in hierarchical systems. Catch 22 also explores a dissonance between duty and humanity. Many professionals face this tension today. How can the spiritual wisdom from Gurudev help resolve this conflict? This is a central teaching of Gurudev, how to balance duty with humanity. Through practices like Shakti Kriya and Sudarshan Kriya, we are reminded that duty doesn't have to be devoid of humanity. When the mind is clear and the heart is open, we can perform our duties with compassion without losing sight of our human values. This is the true essence of spirituality in action. In the Vedic tradition, the Karma Yoga philosophy teaches us to perform our duties selflessly without attachment to the results. This allows us to act from a place of humanity, as we are not driven by personal gain but by a higher purpose. The rituals of Sanyam and Upanayam help professionals reconnect to this higher sense of duty. Finally, the novel illustrates the illusion of patriotism. In times of war, which can translate into blind loyalty in corporate or political environments, how can Art of Living techniques promote a more conscious approach to loyalty and commitment? Blind loyalty often leads to decisions that are neither in the individual's nor the collective's best interest. Gurudev teaches us to be discerning and act from awareness. Sudarshan Kriya and meditation help us cultivate this awareness rather than following orders blindly. We develop a sense of responsibility to act with consciousness and integrity. Loyalty is then based on values, not just on authority. Sanyam and the chanting of the Gayatri Mantra instill wisdom and discernment. The mantra invokes the light of wisdom to guide our intellect, allowing us to see beyond superficial patriotism or loyalty to higher principles of truth and justice. Whether in corporate life or politics, these practices help maintain loyalty to the highest values, not just to positions or systems. Thank you both for this enlightening discussion. It's incredible how the lessons from Catch 22, which reflect the absurdity and challenges of life, can find resolution and meaning through the teachings of Gurudev and the spiritual practices you have shared today. Jai Gurudev, let's continue exploring how the teachings from Catch 22 align with Gurudev's wisdom and how Art of Living techniques can provide solutions. We have discussed several points, but there are more key learnings that could resonate with today's politics and corporate culture. Yes, the theme of bureaucratic insanity is central to Catch 22. In modern systems, bureaucracy often leads to inefficiency and frustration. How can the wisdom of the Art of Living help individuals deal with such frustrations? Bureaucracy, much like in Catch 22, can often feel like an endless loop of inefficiency. The key is to not let external chaos disturb your internal peace. This is where practices like Sudarshan Kriya and pranayama come into play. When you practice these techniques, you develop patience and resilience. You realize that while you may not control the system, you have full control over your reaction to it. By staying centered and calm, you can approach bureaucratic challenges with a clear mind. In ancient times, our sages also dealt with hierarchical systems, but they always emphasize internal mastery over external control. Practices like Trikal Sandhya and Upanayanam keep one grounded in the rhythm of life, helping individuals navigate the frustrations of bureaucracy without losing their mental peace. These ancient rituals instill patience, a clarity, and the strength to deal with inefficiency calmly. The novel touches on the absurdity of war in today's corporate culture. Some feel like they are fighting endless battle for survival. How can the spiritual wisdom of Gurudev and tools like yoga, meditation, and sadhana provide peace in such environments? In corporate environments, people often feel like they are at war, fighting for promotions, recognition, or even just survival. Gurudev teaches that true success doesn't come from constant fighting, but from being in a state of peace. Practices like yoga, sadhana, and padmasana allow individuals to experience deep inner stillness. When the mind is at peace, you don't feel the need to constantly fight. Instead, you flow with life. This doesn't mean being passive, but rather acting from a place of inner strength and calm. In the Vedic tradition, Sanyam or self control and Agnikaram or fire rituals were practiced to align with the cosmic energies and to release inner tension. The lesson is that the external world may always be chaotic, like in a war, but by aligning yourself with the universal principles through sadhana, you experience peace amidst chaos. This applies to corporate battles as well. One striking theme in Catch 22 is moral ambiguity. In politics and corporations, people often face decisions that aren't clear cut. How can art of living techniques like meditation, seva, or selfless service and satsang or spiritual gatherings help navigate moral dilemmas? Moral dilemmas are a part of life, especially in competitive environments like politics and business. The key is to act from a place of clarity and compassion. Meditation is essential in bringing that clarity. When you meditate, your mind settles and the fog of confusion lifts, allowing you to see the situation as it is. Seva also plays a significant role because when you engage in selfless service, you cultivate compassion. Decisions that are morally ambiguous become clearer when compassion is your guide. In ancient texts, moral dilemmas were often solved by looking at the larger dharma or righteous duty. Practices like Sandhya Vandanam or daily rituals and the chanting of Gayatri Mantra invoke the higher intellect. The Gayatri Mantra calls for wisdom to guide our decisions. In this way, our decisions are not clouded by selfish desires but are aligned with righteousness even when the situation seems morally ambiguous. The novel discusses survival over principles where characters abandon their values to survive. In today's corporate or political world, how can individuals stay true to their values while still succeeding? Staying true to one's values in a competitive world can be challenging, but Gurudev often reminds us that success without peace is not true success. Practices like Shakti Kriya and Padma Sadhana build resilience and integrity. When your foundation is strong, you don't feel the need to compromise your values for survival. In fact, you will find that people who stay true to their values ultimately attract long term success and respect. The teachings of the Vedas emphasize that integrity is the highest virtue. Through rituals like Upanayanam, where the sacred thread ceremony symbolizes the beginning of a life committed to truth and righteousness, we are reminded that real success is not material but moral. When you perform these rituals regularly, you reinforce your commitment to live a life of principles regardless of external pressures. Catch 22 highlights the fear of mortality, and many in today's corporate world fear failure, loss of status, or financial insecurity. How can the practices of the art of living help people overcome this fear? Fear of mortality or failure is often rooted in attachment. Gurudev teaches that when you are connected to your true self, which is beyond the body and mind, these fears naturally dissolve. Techniques like Sudarshan Kriya and meditation help individuals experience that connection to something greater than themselves. When you realize that life is beyond the material, you stop fearing failure or insecurity because you are no longer bound by the outcomes of your actions. In the Vedic tradition, practices like Agni Karyam and the chanting of the Gayatri Mantra remind us of our eternal nature. The fire in Agni Karyam represents the soul's eternal flame, untouched by death or loss. By performing these rituals, individuals can transcend their fear of mortality and live with confidence in their eternal nature. The novel also explores detachment from reality. In both corporate and political fields, people sometimes lose touch with reality, becoming disconnected from themselves and others. How can satsang and seva help in reconnecting with oneself and society? Satsang and seva are powerful tools for staying grounded in reality. In satsang, you come together with like minded individuals to sing, reflect, and reconnect with higher wisdom. This keeps you rooted in truth and reality. Seva reminds us of our connection to others and the world around us. When you serve, you realize that you are not alone, and this reconnection with humanity pulls you out of any disconnection or detachment from reality. The Vedic tradition has always emphasized communal practices like satsang and seva as ways to stay connected to the world and its people. The more we engage in these practices, the more we remain aware of the interdependence of our life. The rituals like Agni Karyam are not just individual practices, they connect us to the cosmic order, ensuring that we remain grounded in the truth of existence. Catch 22 depicts the dehumanization of people. How can art of living practices like Ayurveda, Sudarshan Kriya, and meditation help individuals restore their sense of humanity in today's fast paced world? Yes, in a world where people are often treated as commodities, it's easy to lose touch with your own humanity and that of others. Practices like Sudarshan Kriya help cleanse the mind of stress and restore a sense of connection to one's inner self. Ayurveda, with its holistic approach to health, reminds us that we are more than just machines, we are living beings who need balance in body, mind, and spirit. Meditation strengthens this connection, helping people remain human in an often dehumanizing world. In the Vedic tradition, the rituals of Upanayanam and the daily practice of Sandhya Vandanam are designed to remind individuals of their sacred connection to the cosmos and to each other. These practices reinforce the idea that each individual is a part of a greater whole, a community that is interconnected. This helps restore the sense of humanity that can be lost in corporate and political environments. Thank you both for these profound insights. It's amazing how the lessons from Catch 22, which seems so absurd and frustrating, can find resolution and transformation through the wisdom of Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankarji and the powerful spiritual practices of the art of living. Through these techniques, individuals can navigate the complexities of the modern world with clarity, peace, and integrity. Thank you for your detailed and profound responses so far. Let's now move on to further dimensions of how the teachings from Catch 22 and the wisdom of Gurudev can impact corporate leadership and personal growth. One of the recurring themes in Catch 22 is the loss of individuality. In corporate environments, people often feel like they are just another cog in the machine. How can the teachings of art of living, such as sadhana and sanyam, help individuals reclaim their sense of self? Absolutely, in the fast paced corporate world, people often lose touch with their individuality and purpose. Sadhana helps an individual reconnect with their inner self. Daily spiritual practices, whether it's Shakti Kriya or Padma Sadhana, allow one to take a pause, look within, and realign with their true purpose. When you practice Sanyam Sadhana or self discipline, it's not just about external actions, but about disciplining the mind to stay true to your uniqueness. Gurudev always says, you are not just a body, but you are a unique, infinite soul with the seven levels of existence which you are taught in the basic course. When you live from that realization, no corporate system can take away your individuality. Our ancient practices always stress individuality within the larger framework of society. For example, the ritual of Upanayana is highly individualistic. It is the moment when the initiate is given their own personal mantra and starts their spiritual journey. Practices like Sandhya Vandanam and the Gayatri Mantra help to preserve one's individual connection with the divine while also serving society. This balance between individuality and contribution to the greater good is essential, and these practices guide individuals in reclaiming their personal sense. In Catch 22, many characters experience helplessness in a system. In corporate and political fields, people often feel powerless against the larger system. How can the tools of art of living like seva or selfless service, meditation, and satsang empower individuals to feel in control of their lives? Feeling helpless in a larger system is a common challenge today. But Gurudev always emphasizes that true power comes from within, not from external circumstances. Seva is one of the most empowering tools because it shifts the focus from what can I get to what can I give. When you engage in selfless service, you realize that you have the power to contribute positively to society, and this brings a profound sense of empowerment. Similarly, meditation and satsang bring inner strength and clarity. You may not be able to change the entire system, but these practices empower you to change how you navigate through it. They give you the inner strength to rise above feelings of helplessness. The Vedic rituals also provide individuals with a sense of inner power and control. For example, Trikal Sandhya prayers at dawn, noon, and dusk keeps individuals aligned with the cosmic order. Even in the midst of chaos, these practices give one the sense that they are in harmony with the universe, and that is where true power comes from. Agni Karyam or fire rituals also remind individuals that they are co creators with the divine, and through these rituals, they regain their power and purpose. Catch 22 explores inequality and exploitation. Many people in corporate or political worlds feel exploited or are aware of injustice in the system. How can the art of living teachings such as Seva, Satsang, and the wisdom of Ayurveda address the feelings of inequality and exploitation? Gurudev often says that the key to overcoming injustice is not by reacting with anger or frustration, but by elevating oneself through service and compassion. Seva helps to bridge the gaps of inequality because when we serve others, we recognize the common humanity that binds us. Satsang brings people together in harmony, irrespective of social or economic status. It creates a sense of equality among all participants. Ayurveda plays a unique role in addressing exploitation as well. It teaches us that everyone is different but equal in their own unique constitution. By respecting our bodies, minds, and individual differences, we cultivate a deeper respect for others, reducing the tendency to exploit or feel exploited. The Vedic tradition also emphasizes equality through practices like Upanayana and the Gayatri Mantra. These are not restricted by caste, creed, or gender or status. They are available to all who seek spiritual wisdom. The fire rituals, such as Agni Karyam, are performed to honor the divine in all living beings, reinforcing the idea of equality. When we see everyone as an embodiment of the divine, the tendency to exploit or feel exploited diminishes. One of the themes in Catch 22 is the concept of surviving at any cost, where individuals abandon their values for the sake of survival. How can the Art of Living philosophy help individuals maintain integrity while navigating the competitive corporate or political world? It's easy to lose sight of one's values when survival seems to be the priority. However, Gurudev often teaches that integrity is non negotiable, and real success comes from maintaining that integrity. Practices like Shakti Kriya, Sudarshan Kriya, and meditation strengthens the inner resolve to stay true to one's principles. When you are deeply connected to your core values, the fear of survival takes a back seat. In the long run, those who act with integrity and clarity will naturally rise as people are drawn to trustworthy and grounded individuals. The teachings of the Vedic tradition also stress that survival at the cost of values leads to a meaningless existence. Practices like Sandhya Vandanam, Sanyam Sadhana, and the chanting of the Gayatri Mantra are designed to reinforce dharma or righteousness. They remind us that integrity is more important than temporary gains. The great epics like the Ramayana show us that individuals who follow their dharma, even in the face of hardship, ultimately succeed in ways that are far more fulfilling than those who abandon their values for short term survival. Finally, Catch 22 explores the concept of insanity as a coping mechanism. Many in high stress corporate or political environments feel like they are losing their sanity. How can Art of Living's holistic approach, incorporating yoga, meditation, satsang, and Ayurveda, help restore mental balance and prevent burnout? Mental health challenges are increasingly common in high stress environments, and often people feel like they are going crazy, much like the characters in Catch 22. Gurudev's teachings emphasize that the key to restoring mental balance lies in a holistic approach. Yoga brings physical well being, meditation calms the mind, satsang nourishes the spirit, and Ayurveda provides physical and mental nourishment. Together, these tools form a comprehensive support system that prevents burnout and helps individuals remain balanced even in the most stressful circumstances. In the Vedic tradition, practices like Agni Karyam, Trikal Sandhya, and Gayatri Mantra chanting are essential in maintaining mental and emotional balance. These rituals were designed to realign individuals with the cosmic rhythm and keep them grounded in reality. Regular practice of these rituals ensures that even in high stress environments, individuals can maintain their sanity and mental clarity. This has been an enlightening discussion. It's incredible to see how the wisdom from Catch 22 finds a solution in the ancient practices and teachings of His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji and the Art of Living. The tools of Sudarshan Kriya, Yoga, Satsang, and Seva, along with the Vedic rituals of pujas and homas, provide individuals with the strength to navigate the complexities of today's corporate and political systems without losing their values or mental peace. Thank you both for sharing your wisdom today. We look forward to continuing this journey of exploring the timeless relevance of these teachings for the modern world. Jai Gurudev.